Hey everyone, it's Zack Beck. The housing market has been very volatile as of late. We saw prices skyrocket during the pandemic, people paying hundreds of thousands of dollars over asking prices, people promising to have their children named after the owners of the homes they were trying to buy them from. And we saw a crazy environment where people were outbidding one another and doing everything they could to get into a home. This was caused by a variety of factors, including historically low interest rates from the Federal Reserve. However, we are starting to see a market shift right now that is very alarming for some individuals, but also could be a potential opportunity for others. So what I want to do in this video is break down in detail what the heck is going on in the housing market and how you can benefit from that to hopefully come out of the other side ahead. So let's take our time, dive into the details, and jump into it right now. As previously mentioned, the housing market has been pretty crazy as of late. We've seen all sorts of issues transpire with housing prices skyrocket to the moon, but now they seem to be turning the tide. What we saw happen recently is interest rates were ultimately raised by the Federal Reserve, and this does have a disproportionate impact on what we see happening with mortgage interest rates as well. Those have actually gone up substantially over the period of time, which has actually reduced the buying power of a lot of individuals in the housing market. So when simultaneously we are seeing housing prices still remain high, but now the buying power going lower, we're starting to see a general trend where things are starting to turn the tide. Whereas previously, people were having to fight just to be able to put an offer on a house and trying to outbid one another to hopefully ultimately receive the opportunity to buy that house, now we're seeing a very different dynamic. I mentioned a while ago that we have actually seen issues with leading indicators, specifically in Austin, Texas, where we started to see inventory levels increase. And as a result of that, when we see more inventory come online, then obviously that gives buyers more options to choose from. Therefore, when you have more options to choose from, you might shop around a little bit and be more willing to pay less for something because you could get it for less expensive somewhere else. Now, Austin, Texas is a unique city and a unique housing market, but it is a leading indicator of where things are. And ever since then, we've seen other cities see the same trend line, where now we're starting to see inventory levels increase because of a variety of factors. One, some people are concerned who are wanting to sell that this is their opportunity to do so before the housing market might collapse. Now, I do not believe it will collapse in the same way it did in 2008, but I think there are cracks forming right now which provide us with the opportunity to understand that we will probably not see this continuously increasing housing market that was so crazy during the pandemic. And because of that, when we see people who are more willing to sell right now, that brings more homes on the market. Then if homes are sitting because buyers don't have the opportunity and buying power to put a substantial offer on a home, then those houses will sit, more houses will come onto the market, and then we will just see this continuously move forward. I personally believe that will lead to ultimately more houses in the market, less buying power for individuals, and ultimately that will bring prices down. Now, I do not believe, once again, that we're going to see this crazy crash or anything to that extent, but I do think that we're in a situation where it's turning more in favor for buyers. Now, there could be more challenges moving forward as well, because the Federal Reserve has indicated they're going to perpetually be increasing interest rates until they tamp down inflation. So for your perspective, if you're someone who's in the market and wanting to buy right now, this is a very tricky situation because you have to ask yourself the following questions. Is the home the right home for you? Is it in the right location? Does it have the right amount of space? Is it going to be accommodating to you in this moment? And also, can you afford it? Is it going to be less than 30% of your take-home pay on a monthly basis? Hopefully you're not going and exceeding that, but if you are, that's where you might have to pause and step back. Now, what you also want to take into consideration is what the interest rates are right now, specifically the yield on the 10-year Treasury, which does have an impact directly on the mortgages. But when you're looking at that, you have to think through this possibility that maybe the Federal Reserve will continuously raise interest rates for a long period of time. Some people might be betting on the fact that they think interest rates will then go down within a few years. Now, that is something that we could maybe suppose and actually think that would occur, but it's not a guarantee. Therefore, if you're in a situation where you're signing up for a 15 or a 30-year mortgage, think that you're going to be agreeing to pay that interest rate. Yes, you could refinance in the future, but that is not a guarantee that you're going to be able to refinance at a lower rate. So be really careful before you lock yourself in and make that type of commitment that you're only doing so if you're fully convinced that this is the right house, the right place, the right time, and you ultimately can afford it moving forward. Another element to take into consideration in the housing market, like I said previously, is that more homes are eventually coming online because building has been increasing as well. We've also seen lumber prices start to decrease, the supply chain starting to mellow out, and ultimately we will see more homes coming online. So if you're in a situation right now where you're desperate and you're considering, oh, I have to buy this home right now because I'm not gonna have an opportunity in the future, I just encourage you to take a step back. If it's the right home, the right place, and the right time, it might be the right opportunity for you to go for it. But there are going to be future opportunities and more homes will come online because that is something that is a top priority, not only of the federal government, but of state and local governments as well. They now have new regulations and guidelines where they have to reach certain numbers, specifically here in California, the RENA numbers, in order to be able to provide affordable housing to residents. So I'm not saying it's something that's going to happen quickly and it's going to be a guarantee for you, but just know that because policy changes are occurring at the federal, local, and state level, I do believe that we will see more housing inventory come online, which will provide you with more opportunity and options out in the future. That way you're not in a situation where you're going to be spending a significant amount of money on a home that's adequate right now, but you might be able to spend the same amount of money at a future time for a house that's maybe even better, a better neighborhood, maybe it's more efficient, has better utilities, whatever it might be. But once again, these are all very personal decisions that you have to make for yourself. So I just want to encourage you that just as a guy on YouTube, I just want to prevent you from making a bad decision that locks you into something that you do not want to make and potentially puts you in a negative financial situation where you're unable to afford it. Because I want you to be able to thrive personally with your family, in your profession, and in your personal life, so that way you can do everything possible to make a positive impact in this world. With all that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching the video today. If you wouldn't mind, please tap the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Help push this video to other people who might need to hear it. Furthermore, if you have any questions, please comment down below. I'd love to interact with you, get to know you, do any research on your behalf, so that way you can make well and wise informed decisions moving forward. Lastly, if you wouldn't mind, please hit the subscribe button. I'd love it if you actually subscribe to this channel. I do everything I can to create positive content that hopefully makes a positive impact in your life by encouraging you and myself to lead lives of meaning and purpose, all while maintaining balanced moderation. And if you do subscribe, please tap the notification bell. That will notify you every time I post a video. Hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you next time.